Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable.
Revolution.
First, what is a revolution?
Revolution is the solution, hey.
The motive of a revolution.
Well, now,
The objective of a revolution.
we televise.
And the result of a revolution. And the methods used in a revolution.
I know you know. Put my gun away. Never gonna put my gun away. Put my gun away. See the mob, you better run away.
This generation of Americans has already had enough, more than enough, of war and hate and oppression.
Hello, Internet. Hope everybody is having a fantastic Friday. Happy Friday. You made it. I'm very proud of all of you. I had a long, interesting week. Tons going on. I'm very, very frustrated because I set up this episode 2 days ago and I got all the things I wanted to talk about pulled up, and I get it in front of my computer about an hour ago. And apparently my computer did an emergency restart. So I lost everything. And I unbookmark things as I go. So a bunch of the stuff that I was going to talk about tonight, I'm not going to end up talking about, but that's okay because there's no shortage of news. There's tons of things going on in the world right now. This is going to be mainly a California episode, even though there's tons of other stuff going on, you know, like them talking about aliens, tariffs, Howard Lutnick, all the Epstein stuff, plenty of things to talk about that aren't California related, but I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm going to stay in my lane tonight, folks. And I hope you all are having a good evening, and I'm glad you're here. Well, it looks like I'm having issues streaming on X from StreamYard. So if you guys are watching on X, please repost this stream, like this stream, all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, let's get into it because we're gonna talk about some frustrating things tonight. But I think there's one story that stands out about all of them. And it's the most important thing going on right now. And that is Punch the Monkey. I'm sure you guys have heard. Punch the Monkey is taking the internet by storm. It's making us all very sad. And a lot of people are drawing correlations between Punch and Harambe. I'm not doing that at all because I think we had some breakthrough news today, folks. And I want to share it with you because we were all very sad seeing what was happening to Punch the Monkey. Because he was just being bullied. He was just being bullied a whole bunch on in his little enclosure there. So let's go over to Brick's suit here on X, and let's just show look how sad this was. Look how sad it was what was happening to Punch the Monkey. So if you guys don't know, Punch the Monkey, I believe he's a macaque, and yes, it's Punch Macaque. So yeah, some people thought it was a fake story, but it's not. It's real. Punch is a little baby macaque monkey. I believe he's a macaque. I'm going to stop saying that word. And he was abandoned by his mother. He was rejected by his mother. And all of the other monkeys were just being mean to him. They're pushing him around. Here, look at this. Look at what they were doing to Punch. Stop it. Stop that. So the people at the zoo gave him a little fake stuffed monkey, and look at it. Look at it. He drags it around everywhere. It's the only thing that makes him happy. Look what he does with this little stuffed monkey. Oh God, Punch! No! Someone give him a hug. Look at this. Look at him dragging this little stuffed monkey around. I mean, how sad is that? How freaking sad is that, you guys? Well, we had some breakthrough news today. Well, it might have been yesterday, but it's either way. It's a big story. Huge story, you guys. Punch got a hug. Punch the Monkey got a hug. Look at it. He finally got a hug, you guys. The world is healing. That's what we all needed. I mean, you know what? I think all of us, really, when you think about it, we are all Punch the Monkey. And we all just need a hug. So this is our happy story for the day because the rest of them are going to be pretty annoying. So Punch the Monkey got a hug, and that I think is the most important thing going on in the world today. Just wanted to share this with you before we got into annoying stories. But look at him. Look at how It just looks like a soothing hug, doesn't it? I mean, we all need a hug sometimes. All right. Punch the monkey. Punch the monkey, and he got his hug. The world is healing. We're all happy now. All right, I got plenty of other stuff I want to get into. So check in with the chat here. Yeah, I'm definitely having problems streaming over on X. Danger, what up, man? How you doing? Pete Grabber, nice to see you. Pete, if you'd repost the stream over on X, that'd be awesome because something's going on with streaming from StreamYard, and it's been like this for the last like 3 episodes. The first one was the Steve Hilton episodes. Like nobody saw it on X. I usually get a whole bunch of viewers from X, but now everybody's, what the hell are you doing? Jesus. My dog just did like a backflip. Felt like the whole place was going to collapse. What is wrong with you? You guys want to say hi to Scarlett? Come here. Come here. Come on. Say hi to everybody. Look how cute my dog is. So you guys got a cute baby monkey, and now you got my cute little pit bull here that's ferocious, and everybody's scared of her. Hey, go lay down. Hey, go be a good girl. Lay down. Scarlett, lay down. Don't worry, I'm not going to zap her with a shock collar like what's that dude's name? That streamer that nobody likes, Hassan Piker. I want to punch that guy. All righty, whole bunch of stories. We're going to start off with the California mileage tax that everybody's talking about. So I've been talking about this shit for a couple of years now, and back in, I believe it was August of 2024. Thanks, Peak. I appreciate it. The California state legislature decided to start piloting a mileage tax program to sort of test the viability of such a tax. How would that work? How would a California gas tax work? And people have been reporting lately that there is, in fact, going to be a gas tax. That's not necessarily true, but it's probably going to happen just by the sheer fact that they're testing the program and they're spending a bunch of money doing it. So here, let's just go over to Carl DeMaio, have him explain it. He sort of presents it as if it's going to happen, but basically the legislature voted to continue the program, continue the testing of the mileage tax program. Well, why would you be testing a mileage tax if you're not going to implement one? That's sort of the question of the day here. So let's go over to Carl DeMaio. He explains what's going on with the legislature, and then we're going to go over to Ashley Zavala and listen to what she has to say. So here's Carl DeMaio over on X here.
California State Assembly member Carl DeMaio here in the state capitol, standing out in front of the speaker's office, the Democrat speaker's office.
You guys got audio, right? Let me know if I got audio and everything's good.
He refuses to give you the ability to vote down a California mileage tax. That's right. Speaker Rivas and all the Democrats in the state assembly just voted down my bill, ACA 14, which would guarantee that no mileage tax can be applied in the state of California. You know, where they charge you per mile that you drive, $900 a year, 6 cents a mile. That could not happen unless you, the voters, approve it. Rivas, the Democrats, just voted down that simple idea that you are in charge rather than them. Contact your state legislator today. Tell them to pass ACA 14, Carl DeMaio's Taxpayer Protection Act. We need you to decide whether a mileage tax happens in California. And if you decide, it ain't gonna happen.
All right, so that's Carl DeMaio explaining the mileage tax, and he says $900 a year. That's an average. So I didn't realize how much I drive. I drive a stupid amount. I bought a 1990 Mercedes-Benz that I absolutely love, and I've been driving it since, I believe, July of last year. In that time period, so it's been, what, 10 months? 9 months? Something like that. I'm bad at math. I put 15,000 miles on that damn car already. I drive a lot. So I don't know what that would equate to for me, but I would have to pay out the ass. What a mileage tax would do to the tradesmen people would destroy us. Us that drive, there's people that drive from the Central Valley to the Bay Area every day to work. I got one guy that I work with that comes from Stockton every freaking day. Stockton to San Francisco, Stockton to San Jose, Stockton to anywhere in between San Jose and San Francisco, all along the peninsula. He drives super far. He drives for like 2 hours a day. I got another guy I work with that comes from Hollister. I mean, a mileage tax would absolutely destroy us. So again, it's not, it hasn't gone through. Let's listen to Ashley Zavala explain that. So here's Ashley Zavala.
Okay, it's a busy day in California politics, but let's get this one out of the way. There is no California gas mileage tax that's moving forward right now. The California Assembly last week passed AB 1421, which is just a study. In fact, critics of California's government who have been wanting a gas mileage tax say this is just them continuing to kick the can down the road. This study has been ongoing for more than a decade. What lawmakers passed—
A decade? I remember the pilot program where they physically tested pilots, or tested like how they would physically implement this. Like, how are they going to impose a mileage tax, right? Are they going to check your odometer every year? Is it going to go on your registration? I've been saying the easiest way to implement this would be to force everybody to get a fast track device, like, you know, the fast track that you need for toll lanes and toll bridges, that stupid thing that would track your mileage and it would report back to the DMV or whoever. So, but from my knowledge, it had only been going on since 2024, August of 2024, where they were paying Californians to drive around. I'll explain that after Ashley finishes here.
Was to not only keep the study going, but they're asking for a report that would be due January 1st of 2027. So in a year. So perhaps in a year, maybe a serious discussion on a potential gas mileage tax happens. But for now, there is no gas mileage tax. Also, if you look at the way that this bill is written, and I'll link to it, you'll see that this just needs a majority vote, AB 1421. When state lawmakers want to pass a new tax, it requires a 2/3 vote. Now, I fully acknowledge that when the California legislature wants to do something, it can often start with a study. The Capitol Annex is a perfect example of that. But there are also many things that are studied that don't come to fruition, and this could be one of them. Okay, have a great Monday.
Well, the problem is they're spending money on this. They're spending money on this study for a gas tax. And I mean, why would you want to study unless it's something that you wanted to implement? And she mentions how if it's a new tax, it would require a 2/3 majority of the California State Assembly. Well, they got a California Democrat supermajority. And fortunately on this one, I even think Democrats would vote against this. I think this is only like the most radical of the insane Democrats that would vote on this. And there actually seems to be some signs that some of these Democrats are starting to sort of break ranks, and we'll get into that in a second here. But so I asked Grok. I wanted Grok to give me a breakdown. So I asked Grok, give me the details surrounding the California gas mileage tax. When did the pilot program begin? How much has been spent on the program? How would the mileage tax be implemented and tracked? So Grok says, the California road charge system, also referred to as the mileage tax, is a proposed per mile user fee system designed to replace or supplement the state's declining gas tax revenue, which funds about 80% of road maintenance and infrastructure, even though they turned the left lane into toll lanes that charge you for essentially how many miles you drive. Anyway, the decline stems from increasing vehicle fuel efficiency, the rise of electric vehicles, and alternative fuel sources, prompting the state to explore sustainable alternatives since the passage of the Senate Bill 1077 in 2014, which establishes a technical advisory committee to study the concept. So that's what Ashley was talking about there, over 10 years. So Bill 1077 in 2014, which established a technical advisory committee to study the concept. Okay. The bill aims for revenue neutrality, meaning drivers would pay roughly the same overall as under the current gas tax, estimated at around $300 annually per average driver, but based on miles driven rather than fuel consumed. So are they saying that the gas tax would go away if they implemented a mileage tax? That's not going to happen. Rates tested in the pilot ranged from 1.8 to 4 cents per mile, with credits for gas taxes paid to avoid double taxation. For example, EVs might pay a flat rate while gas vehicles receive fuel efficiency based adjustments. My car isn't very fuel efficient. So the initial program, the initial pilot program focused on feasibility and simulated billing began in July 1st, 2016. And ran for 9 months until March 31st, 2017. involving over 5,000 vehicles that reported more than 37 million miles. A more recent road charge collection pilot mandated by Senate Bill 339 in 2021 and emphasized actual revenue collection began in August of 2024. So that's when I became familiar with this, and concluded in January of 2025, lasting 6 months. This pilot tested monthly payments on incentives up to $400 in gift cards per participant. So they paid people to do this because, who's going to do it for free? And you freaking bastards that complied with this for a $400 Amazon gift card, you douchebags. With a final report due to the legislature by December 2026, the overall program remains in the study phase, with Assembly Bill 1421 proposing to extend advisory and research efforts until 2035. Okay. So, it doesn't look like it's in danger of, becoming a tax anytime soon, but who knows? Just end the freaking program. Just kill this idea. Kill it in its cradle. This thing is like, Californians will freak out, or maybe they won't, because we are docile little Hindu cows at this point, and we just do whatever we're told. Reflecting ongoing policy debates without full implementation yet, funding for the 2016 through 2017 pilot came from $8.8 million allocations in 2015 and 2016 state budget, used by Caltrans for consultant contracts, technical assistance, and program implementation. Detailed spending breakdowns for the pilot are not publicly itemized beyond this. Oh, okay, so let's just say they spent $8.8 million. Though reports note administrative efficiencies and economies of scale as key evaluation criteria. For the 2024 through 2025 pilot, total spending figures have not been released pending the final report. But a related sub-pilot analysis, public-private roads, sorry, my dog's running around again, project, provided per device cost breakdowns for OBD2 plug-in trackers over 6 months, approximately $221 per device, including $95 for the device itself, $9.26 monthly for gateway services. So they gave us each one of the drivers that took place in the pilot program. $8.83 monthly for data processing, blah, 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 and smaller amounts for shipping, blah, 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 blah. These costs were noted as higher in small scale pilots due to the low volume of GPS data handling, with potential reductions as statewide scale lower waypoint capture frequency or integration with existing toll systems for cost mitigation. Overall program funding is embedded in Caltrans' broader transportation project at $18.8 billion for 2025 and 2026, which includes gas tax stabilization and road improvement fees, but no dedicated line item for road charge pilots is specified. So it's anybody's guess how much we spent on this program. A mileage tax would be implemented as a statewide per mile fee collected monthly or annually, potentially replacing the gas tax entirely in the long term. Bullshit. The gas tax is never going away. It's just there. Unless, someone like a Steve Hilton or even a Chad Bianco maybe would get rid of the gas tax. If California gets a Republican governor, chances are I'm not saying the state assembly would flip, but there would probably be more Republicans in the state assembly and state senate as well. So it's all, down ballot voting that if California decides to flip red for the governor, chances are the same thing would happen in the state legislature. 2.5 cents per mile for light duty vehicles under 10,000 pounds, higher for heavy duty based on weight, and credits applied for any gas tax paid. Bullshit, not happening. Enforcement could involve integration with the DMV registration renewals. I called that. I've been talking about this for months. Audits or cross checks with odometer readings through pilot focused on voluntary compliance and simulated payments to test mechanics without actual revenue transfer. Privacy protections are emphasized. Right. Well, Palantir just did leave California and went to Florida, so maybe that's true. Requiring minimum personal data collection, example, no ongoing location storage, and third-party security audits. Tracking would offer multiple user choice options to accommodate privacy concerns and vehicle types, avoiding mandatory GPS. So Different methods are odometer / photograph and reading, plug-in device for your OBD2 plug-in, vehicle telemetrics, meaning uses built-in connected car system, OnStar, that kind of stuff, and then a smartphone app forcing you to download an app. So those would be the methods in which they would impose this. These methods were tested in both pilots with automated options showing a 0.3% to 2.3% median error rate in distance measurements. Data is aggregated and destroyed post-use with emphasis on interpretability, like with Oregon's system. So apparently Oregon's trying to do the same nonsense, and options for refunds on non-public miles. So it does seem that Carl DeMaio and some people are kind of blowing this out of proportion, probably for political reasons. But why continue the study? Nobody wants this. Nobody wants this. It's all because of California's revenue problems. But wait a minute. It's not revenue problems that California has. We are the 4th largest economy in the world, right? That means lots of tax dollars that are collected through income tax, sales tax, toll charges at bridges, and all the other million ways that the California government bends us over in regards to taxes. It's not a revenue problem. It's a spending problem and a fraud problem. So, and a waste problem. So yeah, there's that. So at the same time that this is going on, we have like a gas crisis going on. We got refineries shutting down. We used to have something like 30 something refineries in California back in the 80s. Now we got like 7. And two of them shutting down. You got the Phillips 66 plant out in Southern California shutting down, and then you've got the Benicia plant shutting down. And there's going to be bad downstream effects from this. So let's go over to Wall Street Silver. This is actually an article, I believe, from Bloomberg. And I tried opening it, but it was behind a paywall, and I'm a cheap bastard, and I'm not going to pay Bloomberg. So Wall Street Mav says 2 refineries in California are shutting down due to the California Gavin Newsom regulations, making it impossible to function profitably. California already has the highest gasoline prices in the USA, and it is about to get worse. Due to the Jones Act, the gasoline is exported from Texas to the Bahamas, then imported from the Bahamas to California. So, we'll keep going. The Jones Act requires American flagged vessels if it were to go from Texas to California directly, but by exporting it first to the Bahamas, another country, in parentheses, that sidesteps the Jones Act. This adds weeks of shipping time, but ultimately saves a few dollars per barrel. There are not many vessels compliant with the Jones Act. The real problem is lack of refineries in California and lack of pipeline between Texas and California. Yeah, I mean, if they built a pipeline between Texas and California, I mean, it could go both ways too, right? You could send gas from, I guess Texas wouldn't really need us to send them gas, but California has tons of gas that we could pump out of the ground. And it's the clean, good kind of crude as well. It's not like that Venezuela crude that takes special refineries that they only have in Texas. So, we don't want to drill, baby, drill. It's that whole situation. All the climate people, they don't want to do that type of thing. So here's a little graphic that shows that, comes from the Bahamas out over here and then goes all the way down through the Panama Canal and then up the coast all the way to California. Look at that. That's how it works. That's what we're doing here. So let's keep going here. So even Democrats are sort of sounding the alarm on this. So this is State Senator Suzette Valladares. Valladares. I don't know how to pronounce your name properly. I apologize. She spoke in front of the legislature. She says, this week in the State Senate Environmental Quality Committee, I sounded the alarm. Okay. Maybe that was implanted in my head, the whole sounding the alarm part. She said, I sounded the alarm. Again, California's energy policies are driving reliable supply and prices up. California is at a breaking point. We must stop phasing out dependable fuel sources before real affordable replacements are ready. Families can't afford the costly mistakes. She sounds like a Republican. Is she a Republican? I don't think she's a Republican. I think this is a Democrat. So let's listen to what she has to say here.
You cannot collapse one energy system before the next one is built. You cannot punish working families into a transition. And you cannot tell people that this is for their own good while they're standing at a gas pump praying that their debit card isn't declined. People are tired. They're tired of being told that this is temporary. They're tired of being told that this is necessary. And they're tired of Sacramento pretending that this is some painless transition. This is not painless where I come from. You cannot build a clean energy future on the backs of working families. In 1982, there were 43 refineries in California. Today, we have 7. We're shutting down our facilities, importing fuel, and sending our money abroad. We outsource emissions, we import inflation, and we call it progress. And until we stabilize this supply, we protect consumers and stop outsourcing our standards overseas, this isn't climate leadership. This is economic negligence. For years, this legislature has really sent a clear message to the oil and gas producers and refineries. And that message was and has been, you don't have a future here. And my constituents are paying the price.
Yeah, I don't know if she's a Republican or Democrat. I think she's a Democrat. I don't know. One of you guys maybe want to check that in the chat for me. Chat, is she a Democrat or is she a Republican? I'm not sure. Sounds like a Republican. Anyway, so and she brought up a very valid point there that all of the stuff that they do is supposed to reduce carbon emissions, right? But we're not doing that. We're exporting carbon emissions with, we don't want certain things manufactured here, but it doesn't mean that we've actually reduced demand for those manufactured goods. We just outsource it to other countries, send our smog somewhere else. That's all we're doing. We're not consuming any less gas. The demand for the things we don't manufacture here anymore hasn't been reduced. All we're doing is sending the carbon emissions somewhere else and then importing those goods, which, all it does is hurt our economy. And it's all just grandstanding. It's all pretending that you're doing something, and who pays the price? All of us are the ones that have to foot the bill on this crap. And I think it's becoming pretty apparent to people. The thing is, it's only becoming apparent to the people that are actually paying attention. I work in the trades. Nobody I work with pays attention to this shit. They don't care. They do, but they don't care enough. They they see it hitting their wallet. They see it hitting their paycheck. They see the taxes, but they don't want to look into the why. Why is this happening? And it's sort of frustrating. I asked pretty much everybody that I worked with if they've heard of Steve Hilton or Chad Bianco, for example. The 2 people that are at the top of the polls right now for the California governor race. Nobody's heard of them. Then I asked them if you heard of Katie Porter, Eric Swalwell, Matt Mahan. One of the guys was like, "Oh, Matt Mahan, that's the mayor of San Jose." It's like, yeah, fucking great. That's awesome that you know that. That's great. Did you know he's running for governor? Oh, he is? See, it's just nobody pays attention. None of the people in the trades, none of the, white collar workers that are just doing the 9-to-5 thing, coming home, playing with their kids. And to be fair, they shouldn't have to pay attention to this shit. Nobody wants to pay attention to politics. I'm just a weirdo. I'm just a weirdo that likes to know what's going on. And sometimes I feel like, what's his name? Cypher. Who was it from the Matrix that, he meets with Agent Smith? He's like, I want to go back into the Matrix. I know this steak is fake, all that thing, but I don't care. Ignorance is bliss, that kind of thing. Sometimes I wish I could do that. Sometimes I wish I could go back in time and not pay attention to any of this stuff. But there's no putting the toothpaste back in the tube. It's out and it's all over me. That sounded slightly gay, but don't judge me. All right, Sage of Echoes, definitely a spending problem. We should do away with the excise tax. That would remove 60 cents per gallon. Yeah, 100%. The cap and trade shit too. Then they'll be forced to address spending. Yeah, it's like $1.40 per gallon with the cap and trade and the excise tax that we pay extra because we're California. All right, so I want to read this letter from. This letter is from Scott N. Falwarco from Valero. He's the Valero vice president. And this is going to State Government Affairs, and it is directed to Chairman Hothschild, not Rothschild, Hothschild. All right, so I'm going to read you this letter that he wrote. This is in regards to some sort of demand that the California government sent them. As demanded with one business day to respond, Valero is providing the following response to the California Energy Commission, letter of September 30th, 2022. So this is, 4 years ago, three years ago. As the commission knows, and the countless investigations have demonstrated, market drivers of supply and demand, together with government-imposed costs and specifications, determine market price. Ironically, on the same day we received the commission's letter, a federal judge in a 103-page reasoned order, following review of thousands of pages of documents and hours of depositions and discovery, yet again threw out another case alleging price conspiracies by fuel industry, finding no basis for the allegations. So you guys remember this when Gavin Newsom was trying to say, oh, gas is so expensive in California because the oil companies are gouging people. Remember that? And then there was a big investigation done, and it was like, no, this is actually because of California policies that gas is so expensive. And now you don't hear Gavin saying that shit anymore. How funny how that works. So he continues, Valero does not publicly disclose extensive details that could be competitive regarding our maintenance or supply strategies due to antitrust concerns. However, in light of the seriousness of the implications of your letter, we will provide the following general information. We do have planned maintenance activity underway at our California refineries. This maintenance is required to keep the refinery running safely and properly and to meet the regulatory expectations of the state. We have made appropriate arrangements to secure supply and or intermediates to keep our refinery at as close to a full rate as possible. We also either built in inventory or arranged for additional supply to assure we meet the contractual obligations to our customers. Valero does this when we have the opportunity to plan for a significant outage. This maintenance turnaround was handled no differently. Okay, so this is like the government blaming them for some shutdown that they had. As to why investors may be low, as to why inventories may be low, we believe it is because post-COVID demand is growing and supply is limited. So this is 2022. So this is after, this is when everybody's finally starting to go back to work and gas demand is going up again. We have been endeavoring to keep our refineries at full production, and no one has produced more low-carbon renewable fuel than California market than Valero. Nevertheless, the market has been very light. With a very short supply market, inventories are pulled down to satisfy the demand. In fact, the commission would not want to see refineries holding inventories in a tight market. Also, as noted below, the closure of California refineries has necessarily eliminated their working inventories, which will lower overall state inventory levels. As to the separations between California prices and the prices in the rest of the United States, we can offer the following information for Valero. California is the most expensive operating environment in the country. So here's where it gets good. And the very hostile regulatory environment for refining. California policymakers have knowingly adopted policies that with the expressed intent of eliminating the refinery sector. California requires refiners to pay very high carbon cap and trade fees and burden gasoline with cost of low carbon fuel standards. With the backdrop of these policies, not surprisingly, California has seen refineries completely close or shut down major units. When you shut down refinery operations, you limit the resilience of the supply chain. Oh, it's crazy how that works. From the perspective of a refiner and fuel supplier, California is the most challenging market to serve in the United States for several additional reasons. California regulators have mandated a unique blend of gasoline that is not readily available outside the West Coast. And what's funny is California just got voted like the top. It was just determined that California is in the top 5 states in the country with the worst air quality. So this has done little to nothing to actually improve the air quality in California. You know, our special blend that we have. California is largely isolated from fuel markets of the central and eastern United States. California has imposed some of the most aggressive and thus expensive and limiting environmental regulatory requirements in the world. California policies have made it difficult to increase refining capacity and have prevented supply projects to lower operating costs of refineries. We believe the commission experts understand that California cannot mandate a unique fuel that is not readily available outside of the West Coast and then burden or eliminate California refining capacity and expect to have a robust fuel supply. Adding further costs in the form of new taxes or regulatory constraints will only further strain the fuel market and it adversely impact refiners, and ultimately those costs will pass to the California consumer. If you need any further information or have additional concerns, please advise. Scott Falworko is his name. So, I mean, he just let him know. He just put it all out there. Like, this isn't some secret thing that the California refineries are like, how can we gouge Californians the most? It's like, no, people stopped driving during COVID. So we reduced how much fuel we had on hand. Then when people started going back to work, the demand went up and the supply wasn't there. So gas prices went up even further. And now you've been imposing all of these special blend and green energy policies on our refining capacity that are making it more expensive to operate in California. And this fuel blend isn't even available to the rest of the United States. So it's not like we can refine gas for the rest of the United States. All the gas we're refining is only for Californians because of the special fuel blend that isn't required in the other states. It's all fucking nonsense. It's all bureaucratic nonsense that's making everything so expensive. And then Gavin Newsom, of course, gaslights everybody, no pun intended, and tries to blame it on the refineries. So that's what's going on. That's it. That's what's going on. It's all California shenanigans, all of it. So, all right, let's keep going here. So Chad Bianco is making quite the stir. And I don't want to make this seem like I'm slandering Chad Bianco. I mean, I have endorsed Steve Hilton, but you guys vote for whoever you want. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. But Chad Bianco did a little podcast. And it looks like he's sitting on a horse in the podcast. As you guys can see here. Is he sitting on a horse? What's he? Oh, it's a bale of hay. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing a podcast on a bale of hay, bro? Like, okay, you do you. That's okay. That's fine. Well, this little clip here certainly got the internet in an uproar. So let's just listen to what he has to say. This is about immigration policies.
Whether they came across illegally into the country, legally or not, is irrelevant because we allowed it to happen. So now we just have to fix it. Secure our borders, don't let it happen again. And now we have to give a path to citizenship to the ones that are here.
Okay, so you heard what he said. Got to give a path to citizenship to the ones that are here. Okay, well, if you do that, you're not securing the borders. That tells everybody that if they get here, they will ultimately have a path to citizenship. So it's just like the sanctuary state policies that incentivize people to come here. This path to citizenship that he wants to give people that are already here. Okay, if that path is put in place, isn't that only going to incentivize people to come here illegally? Like, this isn't a plan. What are you talking about?
Have to create a way for them to become U.S. citizens and productive, make their families great. If they truly did come here to make their lives and their families' lives better, we have to get to a position where we allow that to happen.
Do we though? Do we? Or should they be deported? I mean, they came here illegally. I get making the process easier in terms of becoming a United States citizen. That's one thing, but that needs to be done at the federal level. We can't reward people that came here illegally. And it's not that I don't have sympathy for people that came here illegally. There are genuinely good people that came here for more opportunity, and I can empathize with that. But it doesn't mean that you just say, okay, you know what, we're going to make you a citizen. There has to be not a path to citizenship that people came here legally. There has to be a path to citizenship for people that want to come here and go through it the right way. the thing is, when it is a difficult, long process, you get the people that really want to come here for good, legitimate reasons, that want to come here and build something. You get the good type of immigration. I'm not saying that everybody that came here illegally is bad. That's not what I'm saying. But there is a process that's difficult to go through and time consuming to go through. It incentivizes the right kind of people that you want coming here to the land of opportunity, that kind of thing, not just, and when you have a wide open border, sanctuary state, free healthcare for everybody type system, like you're inherently going to get drug traffickers and human traffickers exploiting that, which is what you see here in California. Keep going.
As the governor of California, we will fight for path to citizenship, and I will use my influence as the greatest state and the biggest state in the country on the president and on Congress,
That sounds like you sound like a California Democrat there. So apparently the backlash was so great on this that he decided to come out and make a follow-up video. And he was like, you guys, I'm just kidding. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean what I just said in that video that you just watched. So let's hear his response to all the internet uproar.
Hello, California. Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco and your next governor. Election silly season is definitely in full swing. The newest attacks on me are about immigration. Let me make this short, sweet, and to the point. I am completely against amnesty. California's sanctuary state policy must be abolished. It is harming our communities. Any person in jail or prison who is also in this country illegally needs to be sent back to the country they came from immediately.
Okay, that's not what you just said, Chad. You said they need a path to citizenship. Which one is it? Like, you guys just heard what he just said. Like, let me rewind that.
In jail or prison who is also in this country illegally needs to be sent back to the country they came from immediately.
Oh, okay. So he's talking about people that broke the law. What about the other ones, Chad? And isn't it breaking the law when you come here illegally?
Our immigration system is absolutely broken with a long list of nuances. It is being kept that way by politicians who use it to their advantage for elections. That must end. In the past, when I have said pathway to citizenship, it means that it should not be impossible or take decades for those wanting to become U.S. citizens to get through a broken process.
Right. I agree with that. But you're talking about people that are already here. You're talking about giving them a path to citizenship. No, I'm sorry. I don't agree with that. Anybody that get even pulled over and like giving, that's the thing too, is California gives illegal immigrants California driver's licenses. And that's insane to me. Like, if you're going to come here illegally, you shouldn't be able to be given any sort of official document that allows you to do things legally. You should have to be, that incentivizes people to come here too. Like, if you come here and you want to get a job and like work some under the table job, it's going to be extra stressful because every time you drive around, you're riding dirty. You're driving without a driver's license. And yeah, that sucks if you get in a car accident with somebody that's here illegally. Thing is, if you get like uninsured motorist insurance and you to protect yourself, you get in a car accident, that person immediately gets deported, right? In a system that works the way it's supposed to. So I think Chad is speaking out of both sides of his mouth here. That's what I'm getting from this, at least.
I have friends who have been trying for more than 15 years to no avail. Ironically, the attacks you are seeing against me are being paid for by my opponent, a political strategist who obtained a very expedient pathway to citizenship.
Okay, so he's talking about Steve Hilton right there. Steve Hilton, who I interviewed last Saturday. People have accused me of taking money to say the things I'm saying about Chad Bianco. I haven't taken a cent. I haven't been offered a cent. I have never taken any money to say anything about anybody, and I never will. If I'm offered, I will come on here and tell you guys that somebody offered me this amount of money to say this thing. And I just think Steve Hilton is the better option, personally. And I'm not trying to tell you guys how to vote. If you want to vote for Chad Bianco, vote for Chad Bianco. I still think one of them has to drop out of the race and endorse the other one, or we're going to end up with two Democrats to choose from, because they're not going to get past the primary because of our jungle primary system. So yeah, I think a lot of these attacks on you are organic, Chad. I mean, maybe some are being paid for, but I don't think that's what's going on. I think the internet is just pissed at you speaking out of both sides of your mouth.
During the Biden administration's failed immigration years, everyone should have that ability, not just the wealthy political elite. The next few months are going to be full of attacks on me because both parties know that I am the front runner. One thing you can be assured of, my integrity will remain intact throughout this campaign. I will never lie to you for a vote. Help me save California.
Well, he'll never lie to us for a vote. Well, if you guys watched my interview with Van Miller, he sort of lied to us after that Trump Coachella rally when he said that he caught the third would-be Trump assassin, when it was actually a Trump supporter that was here in town doing an investigation into shady ballot stuff that was going on. And he got offered a ticket to go to the rally. And he told officers, is like, yeah, I got firearms with me. I'm here from Nevada, so they're in my trunk. Do you guys want to like watch my car, hold the firearms? Like, how do you guys want to do this? They detained him, took him in. Secret Service came there, didn't even question him or anything because they saw. But Chad did this big giant press conference saying, we stopped the third would-be Trump assassin, and tried to railroad this guy and ruin his reputation for his own political agenda. So that's the primary reason why I will not vote for Chad Bianco. The bending the knee thing for BLM, he's actually lying about that too. He's saying that he's praying. And if you watch the video, he wasn't. He bent the knee, forced all his other officers to bend the knee. And it wasn't because they were praying. It was because he was trying to stop like any sort of riots or anything going on. It's like, dude, like, no, that's a bitch move. But you know, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, that's going on with Chad Bianco. Oh man, I'm taking too long on this stream. All right, so we'll keep going here. This is from Wall Street Apes. So Wall Street Apes says 700 companies are headquartered at the address. 700 companies are headquartered at one address in a small building in Los Angeles County, California. This was reported to California authorities, and you guessed it, nothing was done. Money laundering is what he says. And here's a quote from the video, but we'll just watch the video.
Take a look at this quiet building in Signal Hill, California. Doesn't look like the headquarters of hundreds of trucking companies, right? But federal records show nearly 700 freight companies tied to this single address. Roughly 500 of those companies list the same email. WTF, FMCSA@AOL.com.
How ridiculous and absurd is this?
Trax reported this exact address to federal regulators 2 years ago.
If we all know about it and we reported it, why is something not being done?
Take a
All right. So on top of it, it's freight companies. And you guys know all of the things that are happening with the CDL licenses that California is issuing to illegal immigrants. So isn't that interesting? 700 freight companies out of that one address. What is going on with all this stuff? Pretty interesting. You guys tell me. Sage Vecca's got to get rid of natural born citizens rule so illegals don't have the incentive to have babies for citizenship. Yeah, what do they call that? Like pregnancy tourism or birth tourism or something like that. You know, people, I mean, you can come here on vacation if you time it right, if you even though you're not supposed to fly when you're like 9 months pregnant. But yeah, people do that all the time. They come to the United States, get here when they, you know, and they're going to stay for a month, and then they give birth here, and then boom, United States citizen. Yeah, it should be that if you give birth to a child and you're not a United States citizen, then your kid is not a United States citizen. I mean, a strong argument can be made for that. So yeah, all right, we'll continue here. This is from the FBI San Francisco, and I just thought this was pretty interesting. So the FBI San Francisco says, news alert. Today, the FBI arrested 3 Silicon Valley engineers who are facing charges of conspiracy to commit trade secret theft from Google and other leading technology companies, theft and attempted theft of trade secrets, and obstruction of justice. Samina Gandali, 41, Mohammed Javadad Khosravi, aka Mohammed Khosravi, 40 years old, and Sohor Gondali, 32, all of San Jose, made their initial appearances in federal district court in San Jose this afternoon as part of the alleged scheme to commit trade secret theft. The defendants used their employment at technology companies to obtain access to confidential and sensitive information. The defendants then exfiltrated confidential and sensitive documents, including trade secrets related to processor security and cryptography and other technologies, from Google and other technology companies to unauthorized third-party and personal locations, including to work devices associated with each other's employers and to Iran. Oh, there it is. It's always Iran, right? Yeah, Google, you know, the CIA started company, if you ask me. Don't try and steal the intellectual property of the CIA. It's never a good idea. All right, we'll keep going here. This is from the Daily Mail. Did you guys hear about the renowned scientist who discovered water on distant planets that was shot dead on his front porch of his California home? It's kind of interesting, right? Wait a minute. Aren't we having a bunch of like renowned scientists being murdered lately? It's kind of weird. There was one a few months ago, wasn't there? It's kind of weird. Let's read. A renowned scientist who contributed to the discovery of water on distant planets was mysteriously shot and killed on his front porch in his desert California home. Carl, I'm sorry, folks. Carl Grillmeyer, 67 years old, was identified as the victim of a fatal shooting in Llano, a rural area in Northern California, on Monday morning. I've never even heard of that town. Colleagues called Grillmeyer's research ingenious and said the discovery of water is a telltale sign of the conditions of the planet are auspicious, that the planet are auspicious for life. The astrophysicist was found with a gunshot wound on his front porch after detectives from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Homicide responded to reports of an assault with a deadly weapon just after 6 a.m. But they said it was in Northern California. Why? I'm sorry, in Northern Los Angeles, not Northern California. Emergency responders attempted life-saving measures, but he was pronounced dead at the scene, according to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. While investigating the shooting, the Palmdale Sheriff's Station responded to a carjacking in the same area and arrested a man named Freddie Snyder, 29, who is named a person of interest in Grillmeyer's homicide case. I think they think that is the guy, actually. Snyder was arrested for murder, carjacking, and burglary on Wednesday. He is in custody with a $2 million bail. Law enforcement has not released a motive in the alleged homicide. It is unclear if the two men knew one another or whether the shooting was targeted. The LA County Sheriff's Department hasn't released Snyder's booking photo or any further information on the case. I think that information has been released now. So, okay, so we'll keep going here. Keep going. I got a bunch of more stuff to get through, and I only wanted to go for an hour tonight because I am doing a show on Sunday as well. As you guys have been following, we've had quite the weather out here for the last week or so. We've had some colder temperatures, and we've had rain, which means a light dusting across the higher peaks in the Bay Area, and Tahoe and the Sierra Nevadas got absolutely obliterated with snow. The Donner Pass turned into a freaking parking lot several times because people in Priuses decided to try and drive through it. Didn't work out well. It wasn't just the Prius drivers. It was plenty of other drivers that got stuck, but it was not good. And if you guys heard, there was a very terrible accident. There was an avalanche, and there was some people doing some backcountry skiing, and it was a guided tour with, I believe, 12 people, and 6 of those people died in the avalanche. Not cool at all. And now authorities are questioning. They are questioning the decision to actually go out in those conditions with the avalanche danger. So let's watch this clip.
This morning, the heartbreaking new details in what's now the deadliest ski-related avalanche in history. Authorities say this group of skiers was made up of mostly mothers from Mill Valley, California, whose children attend the same school. 8 of those skiers have been found dead.
Oh, 8.
The 9th person still missing is presumed to have died as well.
They were attempting to go out as a group. that someone saw the avalanche, yelled avalanche, and then it overtook them rather quickly.
Investigators say that avalanche was the size of a football field. 11 skiers and 4 guides had been on a 3-day backcountry ski expedition near Castle Peak, not far from Lake Tahoe, when they were buried.
Medical for an avalanche in the area of Castle Peak.
6 survivors sent out an SOS call. 2 of them were injured and had to be carried out. And in the 6-hour wait, they uncovered 3 of the missing skiers who had died. The sheriff says one of the deceased is the spouse of a member of the search and rescue team.
Oh, I mean, imagine you get a search and rescue call and you know that your wife is one of the people that you're looking for. This is just awful. This is like my ultimate fear when it comes to snow is an avalanche. I mean, like, you're essentially being buried alive. What a horrible way to go.
There had been days of warnings about life-threatening weather in the area. The group's guide company even posted days earlier about a big storm coming.
The recent storm event from the 10th.
Blackbird Mountain Guides offers expertly guided excursions in backcountry skiing.
You ski down onto the scene and unclip your skis as you get closer to refine your search.
In a statement, they say they're fully engaged in assisting the search and rescue, adding this was an enormous tragedy and the saddest event our team has ever experienced.
And the sheriff says they are investigating the decision to lead this group into such dangerous weather. And guys, the weather is still very dangerous. In fact, the location where the avalanche occurred is now reloaded with snow. They say another avalanche could happen in the exact same spot. That could pose a threat to the recovery team. It also could significantly slow the effort to recover those victims.
What a terrible thing. What a tragic story. It's freaking awful. So, you know, thoughts and prayers. I know I hate that cliche phrase, but it's horrible. You know, apparently Gavin Newsom was, he knew some of the people that knew some of the 9 people that were killed in this avalanche. So, you know, never good. They're out of Mill Valley. It's one of the bougiest places in California. So it's highly unfortunate, very sad story. So, yeah, careful. Like, you wouldn't have been able to get me to go out in those conditions. Not a chance. All right, we'll keep going here. If you guys are watching, give the show a like, please. Repost, subscribe, all that good stuff. Helps the channel. Channel has been growing recently. So it's good to see. Maybe I'm doing something right. Glad you guys tune in. Love you guys. You guys are the best, especially you guys jumping in the chat. Jump in the chat. Leave a comment. Say something nice. Say something bad. Make fun of me. It's all of it's good. All right, keep going here. So this is like some stories about people leaving California and businesses leaving California. So we've got who is the latest to drop? Apparently, Steven Spielberg has fled California, but I guess he's going to New York. This is always somebody in the comments. You got to ask. Just got to ask. Is this true, Grok? Grok says, recent reports confirm Steven Spielberg became a New York resident on January 1st, 2026. I don't know if that's like the best move to go from California to New York, especially with Mom Donnie wanting to tax the ultra rich. So I don't know. Was it really, is the tax thing really why Spielberg left? I don't know. We'll see. But this is from the New York Post. Apparently, America's biggest winemaker shuts down production in Napa Valley in a huge blow to the wine heartland. So this is where's the start of this article? Okay. Gallo, a major wine manufacturer, announces the closure of a large Napa Valley production facility and eliminated nearly 100 jobs across Napa and the Sonoma counties. A stark sign of shifting landscape around alcohol consumption in America. Yeah, alcohol consumption is way down, but I think weed consumption's way up. But yeah, young people aren't drinking nearly as much. Considered the world's largest winemaker by volume, Gallo filed a warning notice with the California Employment Development Department on February 12th, confirming it will permanently pull the cork on the ranch winery in St. Helena. Excellent writing, New York Post. Pull the cork. I see what you guys did there. That's wonderful. All right, we'll keep going. And here's another one. Frito-Lay, Fritos, the chip company, Closing Inland Empire facility, laying off 248 workers. Frito-Lay is shutting down all operations at its sprawling Rancho Cucamonga warehouse. Rancho Cucamonga, you know, where next Friday was filmed, resulting in 248 layoffs. The company confirmed to KTLA on Thursday. The announcement became public on February 10th when the snack maker filed a warning notice to this California State Employment Development Department. Frito-Lay, owned by PepsiCo, I didn't know Pepsi owned it, and they're probably owned by BlackRock, will shutter its distribution hub on Archibald Avenue in June, 1 year after halting production at the same location, citing declining sales and rising costs. So, you know, the California price for doing business has contributed to that one. So there's, like, you'll see, who was it? Was it who is the fruit like packaging or cannery out in Monterey? Maybe in Seaside. Is it Dole? Like, I know another, like, it's a big plant that's shutting down out there as well. I should have got that pulled up, but I forgot to. Is it Dole? I can't remember, but one of those big fruit companies is shutting down. So it's funny. That used to be the secret word we called Apple back in the day. Okay, let's keep going here. This is from Western Lensman. Gavin Newsom tells Jim Clyburn that he'd have trouble complying with the SAVE Act because he doesn't know where his birth certificate is. Huh, how interesting. Gavin Newsom doesn't know where his birth certificate is, so he might not be able to vote. Gavin might not be able to vote if the SAVE Act passes, you guys. I know where my birth certificate is, and if you don't, you can order a replacement on the internet. You just go to, I mean, that's how I got mine, and I got mine to purchase a firearm. So that's what's funny is if you don't have a real ID, and in order to get a real ID, you have to produce that type of document. You have to produce a birth certificate or to get a passport or something along those lines. So, like, it's not out of the ordinary at all to be required to produce a birth certificate for many different things, including purchasing a firearm if you don't have a real ID, which I don't have. So that's why I had to get mine to purchase a firearm. So it's just funny that they're making such a big stink about this. The SAVE Act, as you guys know, is a initiative being pushed by the federal government in order to get voter ID required to vote in federal elections. So let's listen to what Gavin Newsom has to say about this.
And of course, we're not talking about the other aspects of the SAVE Act that go well beyond ID, and it goes to which is also part of Jim Crow, the history, and that is when it comes to registration.
That's right. The SAVE Act is racist. I forgot. That's what it is. It's black people don't have birth certificates. I forgot about this. How come nobody talks about the Amish? Which of the Amish don't have birth certificates? I mean, they don't want to vote anyway, but how come nobody brings up the Amish? Why aren't we talking about the Amish, guys?
Your birth certificate. If you know where yours is, I have no clue where mine is. Or you have to passport, and 2/3 African Americans don't even have passports.
Passport with I was blocking on just then. But not only that, how many people go out, get married,
yes,
and then square their married name with their birth certificate,
and that would be thrown out under that law.
Under that law,
yeah. So that's what just passed the House of Representatives now needs to get the 60 in the Senate. So I like what Schumer said, dead on arrival.
Jeez, so a bunch of women wouldn't be able to vote? I was already for the SAVE Act. I mean, you didn't have to add that in there. Now I'm all for it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, you guys. Of course I think women should be able to vote. Of course I do. We'll keep going. We'll keep going here. This is from Ashley Zavala. She says, Rep. Kevin Kiley files a bill to prohibit any state from imposing a retroactive tax on assets of those who no longer live in the state. It's in response to a proposed California billionaire tax, which tries to tax those who are living in California before voters may decide on the issue. So I guess this is another one of those... like from what Ashley said earlier, a new tax would require a 2/3 legislative vote. So remember, we do have a super majority in California, super Democrat majority in California. So there are rumblings of a billionaire tax being proposed in the legislature. Gavin Newsom has come out against it, though. So if it passes the Assembly and it passes the Senate and lands on Gavin Newsom's desk, he says that he would veto that. But it's not stopping billionaires from fleeing. Oh, yeah, I forgot to say, like Palantir just left, too. Palantir just moved their headquarters from California to Florida. That doesn't upset me too much because I'm not a fan of Palantir at all. The CIA cutout that was started with total information awareness and all that stuff. Well, but it is, they are a big tech company, so not great. So Kevin Kiley is trying to put the kibosh on this billionaire tax thing. This is like, I still think this is crazy. Apparently, so we reintroduced gray wolves to California. Aren't you stoked about that? The Santa Cruz Mountains used to have, in addition to the mountain lions that we still have, that were actually just put on, not the endangered list, but they got reclassified, like not endangered, but another word. It's like one step below endangered species. Can't remember what it is. But Santa Cruz Mountains, in addition to mountain lions, coyotes, and bobcats, we used to have grizzly bears and gray wolves. Think about how rugged the dudes back in the 1700s and 1800s needed to be to live in the Santa Cruz Mountains. I mean, you already got to be a little bit rugged to live out here. I'm not saying I'm rugged. I'm just saying it is a different kind of living out here, especially when it rains. It gets all swampy. You got to deal with down trees and power outages. Everybody's on propane, all that kind of stuff. You got to know how to work a chainsaw, that kind of shit. But back in the day, they had to worry about grizzly bears and gray wolves. Well, gray wolves may be in the future again. They reintroduced them, and apparently a gray wolf has been spotted in Los Angeles County for the first time in centuries. I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea at all, especially when golden retrievers start getting eaten by gray wolves. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the gray wolf idea, but let's keep going here because I'm already over time. I only wanted to go an hour, but I got like 3 or 4 more things I want to get through here. So, this is a funny story. So, the Oakland mayor, Barbara Lee, she had her car stolen. I'm sorry. This is just funny. It's just funny. But apparently the dude was like, he was squatting inside City Hall before he stole her keys from her office and stole her car. How crazy is that? That's a crazy ass story. So let's go over to this is not KTVU, Fox 2. It's another Fox News channel. Let's if I can get it at the beginning here. All right, let's listen to this.
An SUV used by Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee was stolen after a break-in at City Hall. Let's go down to our crime reporter, Henry Lee, who joins us with the very latest. Henry.
Claudine, seems like no one in Oakland is immune from crime, not even the mayor, with her office broken into here at City Hall and her official vehicle stolen. Now, Oakland City Hall is the scene of the crime over the President's Day weekend. Somehow, when the building was closed to the public on Monday, which was a city and federal holiday, there was a break-in at her third-floor office. The thief stole the keys to a gray Ford Expedition used by Lee's security detail to take her places. And then the individual stole the SUV from a garage near City Hall. This SUV was later found in Vallejo. Oakland police are investigating how the thief got into City Hall. I spoke to Sam Singer, a spokesman for the Oakland Police Union.
We know that someone jimmied open the mayor's office. They stole the keys to her car. They went to the City Hall parking lot. They stole the car. This occurred on Monday.
I'm sorry, but I'm not even mad at the guy. I'm not. This is funny to me. It's funny. I'm sorry. It's funny, and I'm not going to apologize for it. Actually, I just did. It is funny, though.
She reported it. Her staff reported it. It was found by Oakland police officers yesterday, Tuesday, about 24 hours later.
I've learned a suspect has been identified as now being sought on an arrest warrant. Mayor Lee is accompanied either by her private security detail or Oakland police, who are frequently in plainclothes. In a statement today, Mayor Lee said,
But they never find car thieves. They never investigate car thieves. They don't give a shit in Oakland. You get your car stolen in Oakland, that shit's gone. That's just getting stripped, and you're going to find the carcass of the car in the middle of an intersection somewhere that was probably lit on fire. nobody's ever going to get arrested. Your insurance is going to pay for it. Or maybe they won't if you don't have full coverage. But of course, they find the dude that stole Barbara Lee's car because, you know, she's important.
No one in Oakland should have to worry about their car being stolen, whether they're a resident, a city worker, or the mayor. Public safety is.
Oh, now she cares. Now she cares about your car getting stolen, you guys. Nobody should have to worry unless you're the mayor.
A priority across our entire city. Now, on that day, Monday holiday, there are no security guards, so someone somehow got in either with an access card or somewhere else. There are cameras out there, and that's probably what led to some information about the suspect. But anyone with info is asked to contact Oakland Police. Live in the newsroom, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Henry, as you mentioned, cameras likely at City Hall, you might imagine. And then obviously, if they took the keys from her office, they had to know what they were doing if they seemingly went to that car and just took off in it.
Yeah, or it's total speculation. You know, these days a lot of car keys have the key fob, so it's possible they grabbed the keys, didn't know what car it was, and then went bloop, bloop, and saw what made the noise.
And it lets you know which car it is. All right, we'll continue following it. Thanks, Henry.
All right, I'm sorry. That's just funny. That is just funny. Sorry, no, there's a... you know what? This just popped up, so I'm going to play the video. This is not a California thing, but it's kind of funny. Did you guys see this? So they interviewed Les Wexner, you know, the former Victoria's Secret CEO or owner that was very closely tied to Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, so closely tied to Jeffrey Epstein that Jeffrey Epstein actually had power of attorney over his entire estate. He could have taken all of Lexi Wester's money and done anything he wanted with it. Why? Why did Jeffrey Epstein have so much power over Les Wexner? It's super weird, right? Well, while Les Wexner was getting questioned, his attorney says, "I will fucking kill you if you don't answer the next question in 5 seconds or less." How insane is that? Let's just play the clip really quick.
I hired a lady to be like the house manager who had run the U.S. Embassy in Rome, and said, "Yeah, I know how to do this." And I said,
fast forward to it.
Done.
What the fuck? He really just said that. He leaned in and whispered in his ear, "I will fucking kill you if you don't answer the next question in 5 words or less." Okay? Okay, Mossad. That's no problem. I won't do that. Wow. Incredible. All right, let's keep going here. Okay, so this is from an account called USA News, and it says, why is nobody talking about this? A foreign national was caught in 2023 operating an illegal biolab with thousands of deadly pathogens. Authority in California let him go because they didn't want to be racist. He was caught again trying to engineer another pandemic. So, okay, that's skewed a little weird. So you guys remember back in like 2023, I think it was, there was a building inspector walking around a building in Reedley, California, and they found a hose poking out of the wall, like a garden hose. And they're like, what the hell is this? This is weird. So they decided to go into the building and investigate. And they found an insane biolab with like Ebola, HIV, in like horrendous conditions. And it turns out it was this guy tied to the CCP who like was wanted in Canada, and he came here. And well, apparently that guy walked scot-free, and he was caught trying to do the same thing, actually doing the same thing, operating a biolab in Vegas. So it's crazy. Same dude, same situation. The reason I'm talking about this is because this originally happened in California, in Reedley, California. So let's watch this.
Investigators approached the home heavily armed and outfitted in biocontamination suits. They found refrigerators, a freezer, lab equipment, and bottles of unknown substances labeled in Chinese. The homeowner is the same Chinese national who pleaded not guilty in 2023 after authorities in Reedley, California said he operated an illegal biological lab that contained thousands of samples of potentially deadly pathogens. Investigators approached...
Insane. So he just kept going. I was going to play this clip. This is just when the CDC chair, or the head of the CDC, what's her name? Cohen. Her last name's Cohen. Can't remember. Not there's a lady that replaced Rachel Walensky. I think that was her name. But it's 5 minutes long, so I'm not going to play this clip because I'm already way over time. So this I did want to talk about though, because all right, this is the last story I'll talk about here tonight. So this is just incredible. Danger, you told me I should talk about this, so I'm going to. I already planned to, but yeah. So there was a lady in San Francisco that an old Asian lady that just drove up on the sidewalk and through a bus stop, I believe, and killed a family of 4, like the whole family. Killed the mother, father, and 2 kids in West Portal. So let's read this article here. So a woman who prosecutors said killed a family of 4 while speeding down a residential San Francisco street will likely face no jail time or community service mandates after pleading no contest to 4 felony counts of gross vehicular manslaughter. Mary Fong Lau, 80 years old, changed her plea from not guilty to no contest Friday afternoon, and a San Francisco Superior Court judge indicated he was unlikely to impose prison time. Prosecutors said she crashed into a West Portal bus stop in March of 2024, killing a mother, father, and 2 young children as they waited for transportation to the San Francisco Zoo. They were going to the freaking zoo, you guys. Incredible. A no contest plea indicates that while a criminal defendant does not admit guilt, they waive their right to a trial and allow the court to treat them as if they were guilty for the purpose of sentencing. So Diego Cardoza de Oliveira, 40 years old, and his 1-year-old son, Joaquim Ramos Pinto de Oliveira, were killed immediately after Lou's Mercedes sports utility vehicle smashed into the transit shelter in front of the West Portal Branch Library at speeds that investigators said topped 70 miles per hour. Matilda Moncada Ramos Pinto, 38 years old, and 3-month-old baby, Cao Ramos Pinto de Oliveira, were hospitalized with serious injuries and died days later. After it was clear Lau was considering changing her plea, San Francisco Superior Court Judge Bruce Chan said that the loss of life was incomprehensible. Chan said his duty was to balance the deaths with the other factors of the case, including Lau's age, her lack of criminal history, and her remorse, as well as the fact that her own husband had died in a car accident earlier on in the marriage. How earlier on, and how is that a factor? He said that in the hospital after the crash, Lau tearfully told medical staff she wished she could trade places with the family. Okay, I don't care. You killed 4 people and a 3-month-old baby. Miss Lau is going to spend the rest of her days living with the knowledge of the harm she caused to others, he said. Chan indicated she should be spending the rest of her days behind bars, if you ask me. Chan indicated his sentence, which will be confirmed at a subsequent hearing, would likely be 2 to 3 years of probation, which time Lau would be prohibited from driving. Oh, what? And after that, she can drive again? You got to be kidding me. Imposing prison time on Lau would be sentencing her to die within the state prison system. Okay. Your terms are acceptable. In July 2024, the surviving parents of Cardoza de Oliveira and Ramos Pinto filed a wrongful death civil suit against Lau. In May 2025, the relatives filed another civil lawsuit, this time asking a judge to void alleged financial transfers that Lau made after the civil lawsuit was filed. Wait a minute. Relatives filed a civil lawsuit, this time asking judge to void alleged financial transfers that Lau made after the civil suit was filed. So this chick got hit with the lawsuit, a civil lawsuit, and she's like, oh, I better transfer all my money so they can't take it. Does this sound like somebody that has remorse to you? What the hell? This lady should be behind bars. Survivors of the slain family accused Lau of transferring her ownership interest in several properties to a LLC and selling properties to third parties, including her son-in-law, transferring millions of dollars to avoid potential financial penalties from the civil suit. So she's trying to get out of a financial obligation. Oh, she's going to have to live the rest of her life knowing that she killed 4 people. I better not allow them to take any of my money. That's who this chick is. And they're going to give her 2 years probation for killing a family of 4. Incredible. On Friday, realizing that Chan was considering a sentence that did not include prison time for Lau, the siblings of the 2 deceased parents pleaded for Lau to be ordered to home detention and meaningful community service. They asked the judge to consider revoking her driver's license. It feels like we have no rights, said Diego's sister, Denise Oliveira. Addressing the judge, I feel deeply disrespected by this process. It doesn't feel like this is justice. It's because it's not. It's not justice. Your family is getting completely screwed in this. Her brother's friend and longtime creative partner, Kiao Gianella, told Chan he felt Lau was getting away scot-free and had no sense of regret. Well, she clearly doesn't have any sense of regret if she's trying to move money around so she doesn't have to have any financial obligation for killing a family of 4. Assistant District Attorney Samantha Prasad, who prosecuted the case, objected to Lau pleading no contest rather than guilty. She also objected to the judge indicating he would not impose home detention or community service requirements. No, not even community service. This is insane. Lau's attorney, Seth Morris, said there was a tendency in criminal court for all parties to become adversaries. Miss Lau has expressed remorse repeatedly. Has she? Said Morris. She had to seek psychiatric help. I don't give a shit. Lau dabbed her eyes with a tissue as Morris and court Cantonese interpreter advised Lau on her rights and entered the no contest plea. Oh, she's sad. She had to wipe her tears away, you guys. After the hearing concluded, the victim's friends and family left the courtroom quickly, clearing the hallway in the Hall of Justice for Lau and her supporters to huddle around Morris, who explained the next steps. It's good news, he said, smiling at the group. It's going to be the end of this chapter. Across the long, otherwise empty hallway, a collective cheer among the group rose like a roar, then faded away. That's insane. San Francisco's insane. San Francisco judges are insane. Like, they're the same judges that, cops will arrest some dude dealing fentanyl who's here illegally from Honduras, and they'll just cut him loose, and they'll continue dealing drugs on the street corner, and the cops know who they are, and, the harm reduction people will come around and hand out fentanyl needles and crack pipes, and nothing ever changes. That's San Francisco. San Francisco is like driving around with no insurance, where it's just living there. It's like live there at your own risk, because if anything happens to you, there's going to be no justice for you. Your car gets stolen, your family gets killed by a driver. No justice, not even financial justice, because the court won't take into account that they're trying to move around their funds to not have any sort of civil liability for what just happened. That's freaking insane. The whole thing's freaking insane. All right, I should have ended the show on Punch the Monkey getting a hug, huh? Because that's probably how I should have done this. So let's just go back over. Let me play this again really quick, you guys. So just so we end on a happy note, look at Punch the Monkey got a hug, you guys. Let's watch Punch the Monkey get a hug one more time before we get out of here, because now we're all sad. Look it. He is all of us. We all just need a hug, don't we? I need a hug after that story. So, yep. Poor Punch. I'm glad he's at least being accepted now. So cute with this little stuffed animal that he drags around, isn't it? All right. That's where we're ending. That's where we're ending this show, you guys. Jay Wallen the third or three Thanks for hanging out. Sage of Echoes, Pete Grabber, Danger. You guys are awesome. Don't leave yet though, because before we get out of here, you know how we do it. We got to tell a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. Actually, the sequel to that book. This is Chuck Norris Cannot Be Stopped. Again, like, repost the episode, subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. It helps the algorithm. The show has been doing better numbers lately, so that's encouraging. It's going to have me keep doing it. Also, I actually have a pretty cool interview coming up next week. I am interviewing the district attorney out of Yolo County. His name is Jeff Reisig. I believe I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. Talked to him on the phone a couple days ago. He was the author of Prop 36. And yeah, we're going to talk about some cool stuff. We're going to talk about Prop 36. Going to talk about the homeless industrial complex. We're going to talk about immigration stuff, and I'm going to ask him some firearms stuff. So it'll probably just be an hour conversation, but should be a good episode. That'll be next Wednesday at 6. I will be back here on Sunday to do another solo episode. I might have my Cali Melody friend come with me. Hopefully she'll be here. That Valley girl over on X, but she's so hard to get a hold of. So hopefully I'll have her with me on Sunday. Maybe not, but it'll just be another episode like this one. So hopefully going. Rouse Tradamus, nice to see you. Probably won't only be talking about California stuff on Sunday. I got a bunch of other stuff that I want to cover, including stuff with Iran. It might be an Iran episode on Sunday night. So, all right. Thank you guys all for hanging out. You guys are the best. I didn't see anybody in the Rumble chat. Rumble chat was dead. But you guys over on Rumble, you guys over on X, on YouTube, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Let's go to the Chuck Norris joke of the evening. You know the rules. I open the book, my eyes go to a random joke, and I read it. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not. Chuck Norris, joke of the evening. With an accurate kick to the neck, Chuck Norris can turn any fruit into a vegetable. And on that note, stay Cali based.